Welcome to Outsiders Weather and the Skeptics Ice Age Watch, where we are constantly reminded that Mother Nature has a devilishly wicked sense of humour. The Australian summer began this week with the coldest summer daily maximum temperature ever recorded, with locals looking extremely perplexed, as you can see here, having been promised by global warming activists that they'd never see snow again, let alone in summer, and now it looks like this bloke could be hopping into a white Christmas in Australia. Speaking of which, only 2 weeks ago, the Daily News in Hungary predicted that this year White Christmas will remain an unfulfilled desire for those living in Hungary. Furthermore, we can even put aside our boots and coats for the forthcoming months because, the Daily News said, based on the latest expert US and European weather forecasters, this year's winter is expected to be the warmest winter ever. Oops! As The Spectator Australia's European correspondent Mark Higgy pointed out this week, here's Budapest today, already well ahead of schedule for a very white Christmas. And yes, that man here definitely does have his boots on and coat on. It's freezing. As Mark Riley notes, if the experts are so wildly inaccurate with weather forecasts only 2 weeks out, how on earth can we trust their predictions on climate change over the next century?
All the leaves are brown.
Well, no, you actually wouldn't be safe or warm if you were in LA, guys. A powerful storm making its way east from California across the US and is now causing travel chaos for millions of people returning from last Thanksgiving's weekend, and forecasters are warning of intensifying snow and freezing temperatures.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? And ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in the mind.
Well, you might be going to Carolina in your mind, James, but you won't be getting there by road or by car with 8-hour traffic jams caused by the freezing winter weather conditions. But this isn't the first cruel and catastrophic winter in Carolina. The winter of 1865 during the Civil War was even worse. As one soldier wrote home, "The earth is crusted with snow and the wind from the northwest is piercing our bones. We can see our ragged soldiers with the sunken cheeks and famine-glistened eyes."
Virtual Kate is my name, and I drove on the Danville train. The Stonewall's cavalry came and tore up the tracks again. In the winter of '65, we were hungry, just barely alive. I took a train to Richmond that fell. It was a time I remember oh so well.
Yes, people do tend to remember when they are hungry, starving and barely alive. That's what the cold does. Unlike the medieval and Roman warm periods when civilizations flourished in a much warmer climate than we have now, in solar minimums, crop failures, starvation, famine and even war are common when sunspot activity is at its lowest ebb. 1865 was, of course, during the transit from solar cycle 10 to solar cycle 11, during which there were a total of 406 days with no sunspot activity, as recorded by the famous English astronomer Richard Carrington here. We are now currently heading towards solar cycle 25, and NASA itself is forecasting the next solar cycle could well be the weakest of the last 200 years, possibly, according to Electroverse, as low as the Dalton minimum of the Napoleonic era. We've had over 255 days this year with no solar activity, so it's little wonder that we're seeing extreme cold weather in Europe, despite all the lovely predictions to the contrary. And did I mention the Greenland ice sheet has gained an additional 14 gigatons of surface ice and snow over the last few days alone, which the lovies insist simply can't be happening in a warming world. And as for the Arctic summer, well, they had no days this year where the temperature got above the 1958 to 2002 average.